In 1921, there was a neighborhood in America where black families owned hotels, hospitals, law firms, and movie theaters, where black doctors treated patients in fully equipped medical offices, where black lawyers argued cases, black newspapers printed the truth, and black children went to school in buildings their parents built with their own hands. They called it Black Wall Street. And in 18 hours, the United States government helped burn it to the ground. This is the story they kept out of every textbook for 75 years. Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. By 1921, it was the most prosperous black community in the entire country. Over 190 businesses, a library, 2 schools, a hospital, all built by black men and women who had been free for less than 60 years. They had built everything themselves, on their own land, with their own money. Doctors, lawyers, newspaper editors, veterans who had just come home from fighting for a country that still refused to see them as equal. And that prosperity, that visible, thriving black prosperity, made certain people in Tulsa very angry. May 30th, 1921. A 19-year-old black shoe shiner named Dick Rowland stepped into an elevator in downtown Tulsa. The elevator operator, a 17-year-old white girl named Sarah Page, screamed. Rowland ran. No one knows exactly what happened in that elevator. To this day, no one knows. The next day, the Tulsa Tribune printed a story accusing Rowland of assault, and an editorial openly calling for a lynching that night. One newspaper, one story. That was all it took. By nightfall, hundreds of armed white men had gathered outside the courthouse where Rowland was being held. And Greenwood's black veterans, men who had survived the trenches of World War I, picked up their rifles and marched to protect him. One gunshot. Nobody knows who fired it. By midnight, thousands of armed white men were massing at the Frisco Railroad tracks, the boundary between white Tulsa and Greenwood. Organized, armed, some wearing white armbands to identify each other in the dark. At dawn on June 1st, they crossed the tracks. What happened next has no other word for it. In less than 12 hours, 35 city blocks were burned to the ground. Over 1,200 homes destroyed. 4 hotels, 8 churches, 2 black hospitals, 2 schools, gone. 10,000 people made homeless before noon. The Tulsa police did not stop the mob. They joined it, arresting black residents at gunpoint, hauling them to detention centers across the city. Over 6,000 black Tulsans were held under armed guard and told they would only be released if a white employer came to vouch for them. Dr. A.C. Jackson, described by the Mayo Clinic as one of the most skilled black surgeons in America, walked out of his front door with both hands raised. Unarmed, surrendering peacefully, he was shot dead in the street. No one was ever charged. The official death toll was recorded as 36. Most historians now believe at least 300 people were killed. Ground-penetrating radar has since located what appears to be a mass grave just outside Tulsa's city cemetery. 300 people, buried in unmarked ground. Uncounted, unnamed. Not one person was ever prosecuted. And then Tulsa simply stopped talking about it for 75 years. But the people of Greenwood rebuilt. No insurance, no government aid, no reparations. They came back anyway, because what had been built once could be built again. In 2021, the last 3 known survivors testified before Congress. The oldest was 107 years old. They are still waiting for reparations. The graves have still not been fully excavated. America has never answered for what happened in Tulsa. Now you know, share this video so others can learn.